And I also want to take this opportunity because there were two things that were happening internationally on His Holiness the Dalai Lama. His Holiness and Tibet are two sides of the same coin. So when there is smear campaign happening against His Holiness, it affects the Tibetan cause, and when there are smear campaigns against the Tibetan cause, it affects His Holiness standing. That is what China has been trying to do all these times. So when I was in the United States just a few days ago, everybody is asking, what category did His Holiness win Grammy for? So it was, everybody was surprised that His Holiness. Now there's the Wisdom of Happiness movie. If His Holiness wins an Oscar, he would have won all the accolades and awards in this world. So it is done by people who are really committed to, the background music were provided by Amjad Ali Khan and his sons. And then there were core number of people who worked on the message, because the message of His Holiness on compassion, that was so important. It's not so much of His Holiness' voice that was recognized by the Grammy. But at the same time, there was also the Epstein files, which is rocking across the Atlantic. On both sides of the Atlantic, heads are rolling, discussions are happening, and China, we also refer to His Holiness' office about the authenticity of reports that were coming out. Some were, and we found that the first sources of those smear campaigns were coming from China, claiming that His Holiness has met with Epstein, and the reason for meeting with Epstein was to ask for money and all those kind of things, very ridiculous things. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama's office, had come out with a statement 3 days ago that His Holiness has never met Epstein. There was no communication whatsoever. And we have also affirmed, we have also checked our facts and found that His Holiness has never met Epstein at all. And this is the truth. China is using that to smear His Holiness' image. And we have not received any funding whatsoever from Epstein, neither His Holiness nor any of the organizations. If Epstein had been part of the hundreds of thousands of followers listening to His Holiness, we don't know. But otherwise, there is no relation with Epstein, and it's a smear campaign originating from China. His Holiness lives a very simple Buddhist monk's life. He traveled around the world, but he never charged any fee for his appearances, never ever, neither in India or in any parts of the world. Of course, in India, it's all sponsored programs by devotees. When he travels outside, then organizers, of course, charges fees, but then whatever income comes above the expenditures, after every event, accounts are read. And whatever balance money is there, it's given for charities. His Holiness even gave up all the money from the Nobel Peace Prize to organizations. And one time, I think, Gates Foundation came to Dharamsala and asked His Holiness, what can we do to the Tibetans? And His Holiness said, go to Africa, help the African people. There are many who don't have food to eat. And that's how His Holiness thinks. He never asked anybody for money. And His Holiness never makes money for himself also. Most of the offerings are returned back. And except for the expenses for the private office personnel, every other penny goes for charities. So His Holiness is not a rich man. He lives a very simple Buddhist monk as per the principles of Buddhism. So this is something I wanted to make clear at this conference, even though it's not directly connected, because these are issues that keep coming up, and I thought this is a good platform to clarify this, aside from the statement that came from His Holiness' office. So thank you very much. We live in the age of social media and artificial intelligence. We are also catching up with those instruments. We are also developing our AI, and it will not be long before we will catch up with China's propaganda and then counter them through all this means. There will be a lot of work to do. I had the opportunity to meet with the think tank. There's a very good team of think tanks and projects were represented here at this conference. Yesterday I had a lunch meeting with them to increase their network, work closely with Tibet Policy Institute, and collaborate on certain researches that we want to do together, including looking at different scenarios. And then also we'll have to work on increasing the visibility of the Central Tibetan administration. We receive little respect from the international community because of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So when His Holiness is alive, then we have to institutionalize our relations with governments, set precedents for future Sikyongs to receive the same kind of treatment that we receive now, even when His Holiness is not with us, so that we are prepared for the interregnum. So please be assured that we will do everything. We will never give up. Our democratic process is very, very strong. And as long as I'm at the helm of affairs, I'll make sure that we take the responsibility of pushing the cause of Tibet internationally and also with the Chinese people, the Chinese government, with the communist leaders, if possible. But otherwise, till common sense come into the minds of the Chinese leadership, it's difficult. But then I hope a better leadership comes with a common sense. So thank you very much, everybody. We need your continued support. It's not just us. There are quite a number of people who face similar problems in different continents. And I think they also got some opportunity to network with people who matter, whose voices matter, whose writings matter, whose analysis matter, because these think tanks provide materials for politicians to make decisions. I want to thank all the members of the think tank community who have participated in this. And I also had a very nice session with the young Tibetan leadership who are present here last night. We had a nice conversation yesterday, and I always get inspired by the younger generations of Tibetans. I'm about to reach 60. In another 5-10 years, we will retire, but then they will have to take the responsibility in future. So thank you, younger generation of Tibetans who are taking the lead, and we hope to see another Sikyong in future from your generation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.